Imagine that you grow up and you learn one thing, that you can play, at least in Sweden as a kid, make friends and have fun for a while, but it's all very much about going to school. You sign up for kindergarten at age 6, and then you wake up every morning and go to school, get good grades, and try to do your homework. Routine, and some go on and study more and more, advanced degrees even, and imagine you do that, and after 20 years sitting in a school bench, you come out with a diploma that is printed, and people tell you, sorry, the rules have changed. What do you mean, the rules have changed? How dare they? You mean what I've been learning for 20 years is not useful anymore? Who changed the rules? Why did they change the rules? So you mean that what I'm now planning to teach as a professor, what I'm going to be teaching, is different from what people need to be learning? Is this applicable to your life as well? Have you learned things that became obsolete as soon as you were finished learning them? Lifelong learning is something that most people recognize, though, that we have to engage in. I commend you for coming to an event, learning. And we have to find what is it that needs to be updated. In my particular case, I needed to ask myself, what is it with the old ideas of marketing that is no longer applicable? Having a strategy and a target audience and a marketing mix of the 4 Ps of product, price, place, promotion that you give to them, that you see fit. Why is that no longer relevant? Well, for some, it still works. But many cases, we have shut off, put up barriers around us. Think for yourself, when was the last time it was a good hour for a telemarketer to call you? Probably never, right? And so what's coming instead? Well, the big buzzword these days is content marketing, and this is a long definition, but I like it, but you can read it later if you wish. But Joe Polizzi of Content Marketing Institute is also the first one to admit and even highlights that this is not a new thing. John Deere has done this for more than 100 years, teaching farmers how to farm, even though it's not always about selling your products or your equipment. So content marketing is adding value to people's lives, irrespective of whether they buy from you or not. Can you think about how you can add value and how you can give things generously to people without necessarily requiring something in return? If you embrace this idea, you may earn people's attention, they can discover you, they can get to trust you, and if they already know you, they will trust you even more if you travel with them on their customer decision-making journey. And if you really believe in this, you listen to experts like Jay Baer, who says that you should publish valuable things every day. Even individuals, small businesses, big businesses, everyone needs to publish something of value. What happens then if you have both quality content and quantity content at the same time? We will end up with content shock, like Mark Schaefer called it in an epic blog post 2 years ago, when he identified the problem. No longer are we competing selling products. Now we're competing to give away valuable stuff for free. And too many people are trying to give away the same ebook about the same topic to the same people. And he identified the need for differentiation there too. We have to think about, can we be more specific of who we serve? It's no longer just serving as many people as possible, but your tribe, your people that you know better than anybody else, and on what platform they want to consume and learn things. So it brings us to learning and teaching. Maybe teaching is the killer app. We need to embrace teaching, more of us, not just teachers, mind you, not just marketers. Maybe all of us have to teach other people what we know, at least some of the time. If you're looking at professions like legal profession, this is a friend of mine, Mitch Jackson in California, who is a lawyer. And he's embracing content marketing in the way that he's sharing, he's teaching not about law, but he's teaching about communication skills, because he's been in high-pressure situations. 12 juries members are going to decide things at high stake, and he generalizes that, brings it out to the world, online and offline, shares valuable insights as a teacher. And then, if you get in an unlucky situation when you need a lawyer, you know you better call Mitch, because by then you trust him, you know about him. if you teach somebody to fish, you don't need to tell them. You actually have fishing poles for sale. So this teaching idea is about giving people what they need, and some of them may also need your product, not all of them. But you develop a reputation. Sharing by teaching might be the most generous thing you can do. Teaching is a noble profession, and teaching is the killer app in the sense that by sharing what you know, you share what you learned. Just learning is a little bit egotistical. I'm here to take, to use, to make a profit, or to serve me well. But if you don't share that with others, it's rather egotistical. Teaching has been called the noblest profession because it's about being generous and communication skills. As an exchange student to America, I took a public speaking class. It didn't exist in my hometown in Sweden. Public speaking classes, what is that? Well, you can learn for life about presentation skills. And for our kids, we signed up for horseback riding camp for my daughter, tennis camp for my son, and speaking camp for both this summer. How many of you signed up your kids for speaking camp? It's a skill, but it's still a one-way teaching thing. You also have to embrace engaging in dialogue with the Socratic teaching method, where you have asking questions and asking people to reflect upon coming to conclusions themselves. And if you look at Socratic teaching, I implement that myself with case study teaching, like the Harvard Business School method, and I think it's a very effective way to learn. And you basically don't answer questions, you ask questions instead. You can find your own role models in teaching, powerful yet soft-spoken individuals like Gandhi, Mandela, Trump. You pick your favorite. So once you have mastered your subject matter and recognized you need to update it, and then gone into teaching, try to learn pedagogy, still you will have people that criticize you for what you do. So sometimes when I'm in a bad mood, I go to Google and Google what they don't teach you in business school. And I always find it's like hundreds of thousands of blog posts and books about what I don't do at my job. Sometimes when I get emotional and say defense, how do they know? They didn't come to my class. How can they say that? Come to my class. I do teach some of these things. But the more emotional you get, maybe that's because it's a kernel of truth there. Instead of saying, this doesn't apply to me, maybe you have to look at, yes, there are some age-old principles that travel from my father to me, to my son, or he short-circuited the system here. But also reflect upon, maybe I should look myself in the mirror and see, could I do more, even more to be relevant? Especially if you're teaching new technology, but everything is changing, every field, everyone is in a field that is changing. Can you really step up the game? So next time there's a new technology coming out, instead of sitting like that, not another one, can you come out and say, I'm going to learn this, I'm going to master this, I'm going to do something with this. I'm going to learn social media marketing. I'm going to think it's fun. I'm going to force myself to smile whenever there is a new platform and sign up for an account and dabble. Not claiming that it's going to be the best for everyone or maybe useful, but experiment, have fun. It's going to be a lifelong pursuit. You will never master everything you need to know. Just embrace it. Build a brand, a reputation for being a teacher or something. What are you going to be Googled for? I challenged my student, do you want to be known for something on Google? What is your tagline? I said, I'm going to rank #1 for social media professor. It took me a couple of years to battle a journalist professor from Richmond. But then it's going to be consuming time. Don't separate work and life as much. You need to do this in your spare time as well. You need to actually embrace it. You have to tweet while you eat. And maybe not always healthy, but experiment with new technologies for multimedia, and also do something I like called reverse mentoring. Swallow your pride. Tell people you don't know anything about this. Ask your daughter to teach you Snapchat. She complained yesterday, Dad, your feed is empty. You need to update the story at least every 24 hours, otherwise it's going to go dead. So you can also learn from experts in the field, like Gary Vaynerchuk is somebody that I've developed a relationship by interviewing him on different stages, and it's a question of finding what can I learn from people that are doing this in real life. But still, even guys like him gives me a cold shower, and he's basically goes on a college rant saying, if you don't want to learn business, don't go to college. It's going to waste time and money. It's got zero value. Come on, Gary, I thought we had something going here. Didn't you confess recently that you read 4 books in your entire life, and that includes your 4 books? Maybe there's something you can learn from college. Actually, there's some research on social media even that is emerging that is quite valuable. But still, can I get even closer to the edge? Can I ask myself, can I learn even more to be more relevant to the ones I serve? And can you stretch your envelope? Can you really get closer to the edge? So when I met Gary Vaynerchuk last month at Social Media Marketing World in San Diego, he was surrounded by adoring fans. He's like a rock star in my world. And I said, pave path for social media professor. I need to speak to this guy. And I wasn't just going to do the normal selfie stick thing like this, sort of ridiculous. Instead, I said, Gary, if I'm going to send you relevant students that can actually work for Vayner Media in New York, the hottest digital marketing agency, I need to come and intern for you in August. 100%. Shortest job interview ever. So he hired me on the spot. And this is what I now call reverse internship. Can you go and do an internship, not where you are planning to work, but where your students are going to work or your customers are going to operate to live and breathe their world in order for you to be more relevant? Because to be an effective teacher, you need to know what the learner needs to know, what they think they need to know, but you can be a step ahead of them. You can go to their future world and see where their knowledge is going to be applied. Can you look at ways in which you will be injecting value in all 3? So you find a way to mix and match all these 3 circles. What does it mean for you? If you have an opportunity to make a difference in people's world, the time is now for you to step up and say, I'm not just going to be a lifelong learner, egotistically picking up tidbits. I'm going to be a lifelong teacher. I'm going to share. I'm going to be generous. In the process, you will get to know other people because the best way to learn is actually to teach. You need to stay up to date with what you're teaching, and you learn what problems they're having, and you bring them closer to where they want to go. When I'm teaching a new class of 20-year-olds, I always start by saying, I'm going to be the ones learning the most this semester, especially on new technology. And also I tell them when they graduate, if you stop learning when you leave at university, you're going to basically be dinosaurs before I become one. So if you find what's on your horizon, if you're looking ahead, are you going to be finding ways by which you can somehow teach something of value to someone, somewhere, at least some of your time, even if you're not a full-time teacher? And I think that could bring you reputational benefits, valuable relationships, and the attention and trust that is a scarce thing today. And if you come by, welcome to California for a barbecue, or come to Chapman University, where we're trying to keep people up to date. But I'm looking forward to staying connected. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.